Russo runs a break. Caldwell Pope goes to the wing here. James! Oh!
Trying to play at the defensive end. Got blown by back.
Oh, yes!
Hook jam!
Harden, step back. Puts up the three. Got hit. Shot's good! And one!
Back this time near set.
Oh, Russell Westbrook!
Discussion has been going on that the NBA and NBPA had to begin the season, but some players feel like, the NBA kind of betrayed them with this decision of having an All-Star game. Now, usually the All-Star game would be this weekend, a Valentine's Day weekend, but as it's a shortened season and it started a little bit later, that's not the course, or that's not the case, I should say. This is scheduled to happen on March 7th. Now, it won't be a full weekend, as they've been discussing. They planning on, because, you got players like LeBron coming out saying, and which he rightfully can say, he thought coming into the season they wasn't going to have an All-Star break, so he's going to use that week to, rest and recover. And, with him going to the finals and winning the championship and him being at the age, very understandable, especially with him looking to get another one this year. Very understandable. Now, with some of these other players, talking about it, like Giannis, he's kind of like echoing the same sentiment about him being tired. Not the COVID case. He kind of mentioned it, but he was echoing saying that he'll be tired too. I don't know why. He got eliminated in the second round.
Okay, but it's not even about that though. They're squeezing 72 games in with 2 less months. That is a bigger load on him.
But they had a 4-month. Forget people like that.
Why is he not allowed to?
They just start the season.
So he's not allowed to be tired just
July.
because. So he's not allowed to be tired as a professional athlete who practices, who trains his body, who plays 40 plus, who's playing 40 plus minutes a game. He's just not supposed to be generally tired. People who work normal jobs that aren't as physically demanding.
Now Giannis don't play that much minutes. Giannis don't play that much minutes.
He plays 36, but he's a physical player who takes a beating and is running up and down the court most of the time he's playing. And we as normal people working jobs, we sit in front of a computer or wherever it is that we go, can feel tired from a normal work day. But then literal professional athletes whose job is to be physically doing something constantly aren't allowed to just be generally tired.
Now, look, okay, like I said, from LeBron's point, I understand. He actually went to the finals and their season ended in mid-October and they came back in December and they had a 72-day break in between. Giannis, on the other hand, the whole NBA had that 4-month break in between from March to July 31st when the league started back up. They had that break, or the beginning of July when they went into training camp, going into the bubble. They had that 4-month break. That was a break right there. Now, with Giannis, he got eliminated, second round? So he got eliminated early September, August. He was gone. And the season to start back to December. You telling me that's not enough rest for Giannis? Come on. LeBron and the Heat, I understand. Even the conference finals teams, I understand. Because they went the furthest. But Giannis, it ain't like his series went to a game 7. He got done in 5 games? It was over with for him. They was done. Gentleman sweep. So
none of that.
And he was even gone. Like the last 2 games of the series, he was gone.
Okay, so the same people who are making this argument are the same people who are in college right now and who are mad saying, why don't we get a spring break? Why don't we get a spring break? Because they feel like they deserve that break because it's something they were told they are supposed to have as college students. And now they don't have it, and they're thinking about the rest they could have got for that week that they no longer get. Why is it any different for an NBA player who's actually putting their body on the line consistently all day and one of the most physically demanding games in the world? And then when they were told, I'm going to have break time, and then they don't get break time. And then as human beings who get tired, I don't care if they're in the NBA, if they're in the CBA, if they're in the NBA 2K league, people get tired. And now they're not allowed to say that. So I don't like the tired argument. That don't make sense to me. If you want to talk about that, that's fine. But really what it comes down to is the health issue and then the optics. Because like we said with Kevin Durant, contact tracing, trace back to him. Let's not put him back in the game. Fine, you can do that if you're consistent. But then the same organization that will make that call will say, hey, let's, for no other reason outside of the fact that we want to make some more money, which makes sense because, lost a lot of money during COVID. I respect that on a business tip. I get that. But one thing cannot be true and then the opposite also be true at the same time. These things are mutually exclusive. You cannot care so much about contact tracing and COVID and health concerns that you pull somebody who's already been in the game for a half in a normal regular season game that has to be played out of a game. but then say, let's have 24 of the best players in the league come together for no other reason than because we want to make money. That doesn't make sense. And imagine if one of them did have COVID. You know how much damage that would do to the NBA? Let's say if for some reason Chris Middleton found out he had COVID and he was there, and they
Having a great
contact traced
season, by the way, too.
Well, he's having a great season, way under the radar. There's a ton of players, and I don't know if we're talking about that or not. I don't think we are, but we definitely should talk about some of these people who are having great seasons in the All-Star teams and whatnot. But so let's say one random person has it, and now literally that means LeBron's going to be out for 2 weeks, Giannis is out for 2 weeks, Joel Embiid's out for 2 weeks, all these players are out for 2 weeks. And how would that hurt their revenues? If you want to talk about just the All-Star game, okay, cool. But imagine if for 2 weeks, literally the 24 best players are out of the game. That would be way bigger of a hit than whatever game they would get from the All-Star game. So in that perspective, I get why they're doing it. I just think it is dumb. And I understand All-Star games are important because people literally has their contracts tied to All-Star selections. But you could easily still do your All-Star selections and then just not have the game. That would be fine. So
Now,
they can have it.
Now, from the health perspective, I'm gonna agree with you on it. I know we kind of disagree on the tiredness point, but on the health perspective, I definitely agree with you on that. And that's a great point you brought up about, like, say one of these players caught COVID and they have them all there in Atlanta of all cities, which is one of the most open cities in the nation right now, which the NBA players even pointed out. You know, the damage, the ramifications that can come from one of them testing positive, and all of them have to do contact tracing and keep getting tested. Right. And what can come from that it'll be a definite significant hit to the business. But also, you know, the benefit where you say, you know, they can have the All-Star selection, which some of them have said, you know, they can just take the All-Star selection, won't play the game. You got to think about some of these All-Star selections, you know, it'll be the first game for some of these people like a Jaylen Brown or Zach LaVine, who's in the running for All-Star this year. But then you also look at the game itself this year. They are planning, you know, Chris Paul and they've been talking about, you know, having the money go to COVID relief and donate money to HBCUs. And that matters. So there is a positive that comes from having the game itself and, you know, just hosting the game and the money that comes from it. But from the health perspective, you know, it makes sense. I understand the players on that and what's the rationale. And like you said, the inconsistency.
So are you pro game or are you anti game? I'm anti. I don't think they should have it.
You know, as a basketball fan, selfishly, I want it, but being rational and thinking about it, and like with the health protocols and what's going on, especially, you know, with numbers growing and in some places decreasing, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say I'm against it.
I mean, we're talking basketball.
Karl Anthony Towns, I saw him speak.
Yeah, like especially, I mean,
good. I'm gonna say, you know, Karl Anthony Towns, who just came back, you know, he was talking about it because they asked him about it. You know, he just got done battling with COVID, and he said he had it the worst. He didn't get it where it was just like asymptomatic. And we know his history where his mother just passed from
it's
it.
Been killing his
he
family.
had other people in his family. Yeah, it's been taking over his family. So dealing with that anxiety and just having it all, you know, prayers go out to Karl Anthony Towns. He's
major. He's going through it.
Obviously with COVID himself. So from, like I said, from the health perspective, I'm against the game happening. But selfishly, as a basketball fan, I want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, from the basketball sense, I mean, of course, I would
go
love
ahead
to see
and move in. Go ahead.
Yeah, from the basketball sense, I would love to see it. I don't think right now it is the wisest thing to do. From a business sense, from a humanitarian sense, I just think that it is not the best allocation of time, of resources, of putting people in harm's way. There are so many other things that if they really cared about COVID relief, if they want to celebrate, you know, first-time All-Stars, I just feel like there are a lot of safer, more viable ways to do that. And obviously, I get, you know, Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle's, a lot of people who are probably going to have first-time All-Star selections. And I mean, it sucks. It definitely sucks. But as people who didn't even get a graduation because of COVID, because of the safetiness of it, like sometimes traditions have to be skirted around and put to the side for the sake of what's right. So
and for the future, yeah.
Exactly. So